There exist two Chinas in the world, right next to each other. One's communist, having de jure and de facto control of the mainland, and the other one is purely capitalist with de jure and de facto control of the island of Taiwan. Both claim legitimacy and both represent, or once represented, China. Even after the seizure of mainland China by the communists led by Mao Zedong and ousting of capitalist and pro-West Chiang Kai-shek to the island of Taiwan in 1949, the West kept recognizing only the island of Taiwan as the true China and seated them on the permanent chair of the United Nations Security Council. Then the US under Richard Nixon tried to build good relationship with the communist China and replaced Taiwanese China at the United Nations Security Council with the communist China. Since the communist seizure of power in mainland China, the communists eagerly want to seize Taiwan. And they can literally do it any day, had it not been the US 7th Fleet standing between them. The Chinese Communist Party of 2023 is very different from the organization Mao Zedong led when People's Republic of China was born. But on few core issues, it has remained remarkably consistent. One of those is Taiwan. Ever since 1949, when nationalist forces fleeing the Chinese Civil War set up a government on the island, China's leadership have held fast to the goal of realizing the complete reunification of the motherland. Chinese army has ground forces of around 2 million troops. More than 400,000 of them are stationed in the Taiwan Strait area, compared with Taiwan's 88,000 active duty troops. For all its manpower and firepower, the Communist Army hasn't fought a war since 1979, and that was a disastrous invasion of Vietnam. Amphibious invasions are among the most logistically complex operations in warfare, and the People's Liberation Army would take heavy casualties during a crossing of Taiwan Strait and a landing on Taiwan's shores. Even if Taiwan's government were to fall quickly, China could find itself fighting a long and protracted insurgency in the mountainous and heavily urbanized terrain. The Taiwanese and Chinese economies are deeply intertwined. China accounts for more than 40% of Taiwan's exports, and hundreds of thousands of Taiwanese live on the mainland China. But polls show that Taiwan's citizens, particularly younger ones, are only becoming more anti-Chinese in their outlook and more staunchly Taiwanese in their personal identity. There's another big question as to what the US would do if China happens to attack Taiwan. Unlike with Ukraine, the US government has not ruled out the possibility that it would intervene directly to defend Taiwan. It also hasn't affirmed its willingness to respond militarily, a stance known as strategic ambiguity. Biden has on 3 occasions said that he believes that the US has a commitment to defend Taiwan if it were attacked. The White House has walked back these remarks each time. But as the Johns Hopkins professor Hal Brand's written, once is a gaffe, 3 times is a policy. What we know from China's own military planning, it assumes a strong possibility of US intervention and has included scenarios in which China launches a preemptive attack on US bases in the Pacific. Hubris or no, the Chinese probably believe they can handle Taiwan's military on their own. But a shooting war with a nuclear-armed superpower rival USA is an altogether more sobering scenario that China is most likely to avoid.